Hi, everyone, and good day to you. This is Mike Bernard with our episode 4 of Mic'd Up. Glad to be with you. We're going to talk a little bit today about why sales tax is not applied broadly at the state and local levels for U.S. states. And so let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, as most of you know, sales and use tax is actually applied very, very broadly on tangible personal property. But there are a lot of policy decisions as to why sales and use tax is not applied to services. So if you think about the five big spending items that consumers normally spend money on, it's energy, which is heavily taxed, housing, which is taxed through a property tax, entertainment and travel, obviously those are subject to taxes, and then food is taxed kind of bifurcated between prepared food, which is taxed, but unprepared is not. And then the last thing is services, and services represent somewhere, depending on the numbers, if you look at between 40 and 60% of the economy. But there's some of the most expensive things that actually consumers spend money on. So if you think about what that is, that's healthcare, that's childcare, and that's elder care. Okay. And all of those things, if you states have a policy decision that if you put a sales tax on top of those things, it would be highly regressive. So that's why those types of services are not broadly taxed. In terms of personal services and professional services, if you think about personal services such as automotive repair or lawn care or beauticians or barbers, normally those things aren't taxed as well because, again, considered regressive in terms of applying a sales tax on top of that. On the professional services side, if you think about that, things like accounting, legal, and consultancy, you could apply a sales tax on all of those, but the problem is it would push up those costs, and actually ultimately the consumer would actually bore a lot of those additional sales and use tax costs. So again, states are unwilling to actually kind of do that. The last thing I also want to mention to you is this, as it relates to state departments of revenue. If you did broadly tax services, there would be a lot of effort on their part where they would have to write the statutes, the regulations, the forms. They'd have to educate people about collecting or emitting these taxes, and that's just something that most state departments of revenues just actually don't want to do. So, given all of that, we don't see any kind of service, we don't see any kind of sales and use tax applied to services broadly, except for about 7 or 8 states that actually do it today. And so, given all that we've talked about here today, now you're all mic'd up.